Curtis Axel. Oh man, how down have you gone when you forgot about Curtis Axel? Oh my god, Kurt Hennig's son. Dude, I totally forgot about Kurt. Like, this is horrible. Like, poor Curtis Axel. Between him and Ted DiBiase Jr., I don't know who had it worse. I'm gonna say Ted DiBiase Jr. since he had to go to court. Anyway.
In any walk of life,
This is by Cultaholic, by the way. Oh, it's Sam Driver.
wrestlers don't always get along with their spandex-clad co-workers.
Fair use.
Or people who they've never met but work for different companies. There are, of course, many notable examples of wrestlers who had major personal issues that, on occasion, resulted in legitimate locker room fights or other unsavory scenes.
The best one right there was Bret Hart and Shawn.
Surprisingly, there are plenty of other examples of genuinely feuding fake fighters that you might not be aware of.
Okay.
I'm Sam Driver from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are legit wrestler beefs you didn't know about. Join us.
Let's see if they can actually make me surprised. That's going to be the whole thing. Can they surprise me in not knowing about these beefs? So let's go.
Triple H and Mitch. In January of 2006,
Mitch?
the Spirit Squad made their WWE debut and proceeded to spend much of the next year acting as the personal punching bags of D-Generation X, before being quite literally shipped back to Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Oh shoot, they got shipped. They got shipped? What? Wait. What?
Relative inexperience of the 5 cheerleading greenhorns, it's perhaps not too...
I legit hated the Spirit Squad, by the way. They were so freaking annoying. Like, heel annoying. Which one was Mitch? Shoot. Mitch Spirit Squad. Nick Mitchell. Nick Mitchell. What is he now? He is nothing. He's nothing. It's not Zack Ryder, that's for sure. And it's not this guy. Mitch is this guy right here. Oh, you can't see my screen. Mitch is this guy right here. According to the online. He didn't become anything. He's nothing now. The only 2 that came out of this Spirit Squad successful was obviously Dolph Ziggler. Over here. And this guy, the blonde guy. You can't see my mouse again. My mouse failed. Anyway, let's continue.
Surprising that at least one of them had a problem.
Yeah, one of the left 2. Yeah, Mitch. There you go. The arrow's pointing at him. So that's Mitch. He was in WWE from, let's see. I wish the internet was quicker than this. He retired in 2022. He debuted in 2004. He was trained by Al Snow. He was part of Deep South Wrestling and Ohio Valley Wrestling. He just was known as Mitch. He was in the Spirit Squad and then got released in 2007. And then he just retired subsequently from wrestling after 2007. But after a 15-year of retirement, Mitchell returned to professional wrestling for one night on September 17, 2022 at Tomahawk Professional Wrestling, losing to Lou Gotti in a bout in Texas. So, do you guys know who, like, Chef, I think you're in that area. Do you know where Tomahawk Professional Wrestling is? It says it's in Lufkin, Texas, or at least that's where the event was. After being released in WWE, Mitchell began training for a career in mixed martial arts under Rocky Long. He made an MMA debut in 2010, losing to future UFC star Derek Lewis via second-round technical knockout. He was set to fight again on December 11, 2010, but pulled out at the last minute due to injury. So he's been taking unfortunate L's for a while.
With one of the DX boys. According to Rene Dupree, Triple H had a disdain for Nick Mitchell, who played Mitch, and let everyone in the locker room know about it. In one particular incident, Dupree recalled that Hunter bumped into Mitch in a doorway, to which the game snarked that being a doorstop was all Mitch was effing good for.
Damn. Damn, you're only good to be a doorknob. Or a doorstop. You're basically Hodor. Damn.
Mitchell's Spirit Squad teammate Johnny Jeter has suggested that Helmsley's hatred of the Tough Enough 4 contestant was likely due to how
Oh, he was a Tough Enough 4 contestant too? And I stop after 3.
green he was, coupled with the fact he didn't grow up a fan of the business. I mean, they were all...
So, yeah, that's a big thing with Triple H. He's definitely going to put down people that have not grown up with wrestling. He expects them to have that passion. Which, you know what? That's great, Triple H, but why is Jade Cargill in the WWE then? She's only there for one reason, is to get bigger. And I have no hate for her. It's just, I gave her enough patience and time for her to figure out the craft, become a better wrestler, and hopefully prove the haters wrong. But she is proving what I unfortunately lose since the AEW days. And I was just hoping her going to WWE will make her a better person. Her hanging out with Bianca, Naomi, she will get better. But you proved me wrong. Who else? You know, there's many people. I mean, look, you brought Logan Paul. He is annoying as fuck, but he loves wrestling. He does it, and he knows how to gain heat. I don't know, man. Anyway, continue.
green, but something about Mitch just rubbed the boss's son-in-law the wrong way. Which I'm guessing is why Mitch had his face rubbed into Triple H's backside
forgot about
at
that.
Vengeance 06. Perry
damn.
Saturn and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh.
Perry Saturn was not a man that you wanted to get mad. By his own
I think I
admission,
know
the
about this
former
one.
Army Ranger had a short fuse, and there were occasions where his temper got the better of him in the
Yeah.
ring, such as in WWE squash matches against Brian Gamble and Mike Bell. But it wasn't just enhancement talent that Saturn would throw fists with if he felt slighted. Prior to the August 8th, 1999 WCW Nitro taping, Big Pez got into it with his opponent that night, Bam Bam Bigelow. Per Saturn, WCW booker Kevin Sullivan came up to him beforehand and claimed that he was trying to convince the Beast from the East to put him over in their match.
Oh,
when
boy.
Bigelow told Saturn to his face that the planned finish wasn't believable, Perry absolutely lost it and began peppering Bam Bam with punches, knocking his
Oh,
larger
man.
foe to the floor. Saturn did admit that they weren't getting along before that and accused
You know what's also interesting? I'm watching this video and I'm learning editing techniques that I can use later. I'm just learning either way at this point. I'm learning through the history. I'm learning through video techniques. I'm loving this already.
Bigelow of sandbagging him during their matches on the road, but
Oh,
they
no,
still
not
had to go out
sandbagging.
and work against one another that night. Thankfully, the match passed without incident as they both remained professional, though their relationship continued to be strained afterwards. Curtis Axel and Konnan. Twitter.
So before we get that, let's go more deeper into this. Let's see. So yeah, so to go more detail on this, Perry Saturn, Bam Bam Bigelow had a notable backstage altercation in WCW during the late 90s, driven by professional friction rather than a scripted storyline. Saturn confronted Bigelow in a war room for not selling his moves, resulting in a fight where Saturn gave Bigelow 2 black eyes before they wrestled. Saturn confronted Bigelow about his ring operation, leading to a fight which Saturn laid in shots on Bigelow. Now, according to reports and interviews from Perry Saturn, Bigelow was acting like a giant and refused to sell moves properly during their match. Following the fight, the two still had to face each other in the ring that night. This incident, mentioned in discussion of Bam Bigelow's career and Saturn's reputation, highlights the tense, sometimes violent locker room atmosphere in WCW at the time. While they had this legitimate backstage heat, their in-ring confrontation were part of the chaotic WCW landscape of that era, often involving other wrestlers like Konnan, as noted on Saturn's page. Alright, maybe I should do a video on that. It'll be nice to go back to some of the old, like this, like doing a video on more detail about these will be cool. Anyway, More ideas for the future.
though their relationship continued to be strained afterwards. Curtis Axel and Konnan.
I don't know who the
Twitter,
hell.
or X as the marks are
What?
calling
Curtis
it, might
Axel?
be a
Who's Curtis
barely
Axel?
usable app filled to the brim with
Am I
AI
missing
slop
something?
these days, but once upon a time it was a great place to watch a random wrestler beef
Oh,
unfold.
Curtis. Oh my
and
God.
it doesn't get
Curtis Axel. Oh man. How down have you gone when you forgot about Curtis Axel? Oh my God. Kurt Hennig's son. Dude, I totally forgot about Kurt. Like, this is horrible. Like, poor Curtis Axel. Between him and Ted DiBiase Jr., I don't know who had it worse. I'm going to say Ted DiBiase Jr. since he had to go to court. Anyway.
much more random than the war of tweets between Konnan and Curtis
This feels
Axel.
random.
In 2013, K-Dog used Twitter to take Axel to task for a perceived lack of pro.
By the way, Curtis Axel's still in the Royal Rumble. He's been going at it for a few years now. He still hasn't been eliminated. He could still be a champ in the future.
Promo skills and charisma. I mean, it was hardly a new criticism of Axel, but apparently the third generation, then WWE star, didn't take kindly to being called generic, or Konnan's assertion that he wouldn't be surprised to see Axel.
Dude, he did have a generic look, though. It wasn't as cool as his father's. At least in the 90s, his father looked like glorified for purpose. He looked like a typical lineup in a wrestling roster lineup.
Get released. A couple of years later, Axel called Konnan
Oh yeah, he was a Heyman guy. But it still didn't work!
a washed-up old
Yo, for the amount of successes Heyman had, he has either equal or more else. How we highlight all his goods.
dude, and claimed that his father, Kurt Mr. Perfect Hennig, hated working with him and putting him over in WCW. Konnan denied that was the case and doubled down on his belief that Axel wasn't entertaining, and this whole beef continued to just drag on, with Axel in 2024 venting that Konnan was a POS and a
Damn.
fat slob.
What? Respect to Konnan, man. That's messed up. You know what? I'm glad I forgot about Curtis Axel.
Konnan, for his part, suggested Axel should go see a mental health professional if he's still rattled by his critique more than a decade later. AJ Styles and Batista.
Wait, what? AJ Styles and Batista have something?
In 2005, it was becoming clear that TNA, more than ever, was providing, if not true competition, then a viable alternative to WWE. With Dixie Carter's promotion gaining momentum, it was inevitable that WWE would try to discredit it whenever possible. Then World
Don't tell me it
Heavyweight
was a
Champion
Twitter thing
Dave
again.
Batista, in speaking with the Sun newspaper, was one of the first to dismiss total non-stop action. Referencing car wreck matches with AJ Styles doing his stunts, the Animal claimed what they did wasn't wrestling because wrestling is storytelling. Naturally, the internet jumped all over.
Hey, that statement's coming from one of the best wrestler turn actors in the country today, Batista. So why wouldn't we listen to what Batista has to say? He's making a fair point.
Over these comments, but it wasn't until many months later that the Phenomenal One made a rebuttal, saying,
He needed time to rebuttal. He needed to write his script and rebuttal it. Either that or the newspaper came late.
I think it's funny that a guy who takes a bump and tears his back tells me that I don't know how to wrestle. Evidently,
shoot.
Styles and Batista squashed their beef because months later, Styles noted in a different interview that he'd heard through the grapevine that Batista didn't actually make the controversial comments and played it off as wrestlers against the media. And just for the record, I'm bringing this up more than 2 decades later because I want to see them fight, damn it.
Not gonna happen. Both of them are retired now.
Brian Pillman and The Undertaker. In a world
Brian
full
Pillman
of
and The
tough
Undertaker?
guys, Brian Pillman,
Why? It's like, okay, Cultaholic, you got me on this one.
undersized for his era, stood tall as someone who could certainly handle himself if the situation called for it. The loose cannon was made of stern stuff, having endured countless throat operations as a child only to not play sports, but thrive as a football standout and eventually make the cut for the NFL team, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh.
Pillman knew he was tough and apparently wasn't too
Why does he look like the guy from The Craft here? What's the guy, the actor? He was the one that played Billy Loomis. Right here, he looks like Billy Loomis. Am I wrong? What's the actor? Oh, Skeet Ulrich. Why does he look like Skeet Ulrich right here? Look at that. That's definitely Skeet Ulrich. Look at that. Can I bring a picture of him here? No, you can't see it. That's so it looks like. Do you guys see Skeet Ulrich? No. Anyway, I'm gonna just Skeet Ulrich. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going crazy, ain't I? Look at that. Skeet Ulrich. There you go. There's a good picture right there. Let's do to a new split view. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Wait, why can I do a split view? Oh, there you go. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. Look at that. Skeet Ulrich. Oh. Get off my... There you go. Look at that. Anyway. That was cool. Anyway, let's go back to this.
impressed with those who presented as being tough but in his opinion weren't, such as The Undertaker. Pillman and Taker had beef going back to a match between Flying Brian and Mean Mark Callis at a WCW Clash of the Champions event back in 1990, as there were reportedly words exchanged afterward.
That's an early
and
Undertaker.
when Pillman joined WWE 6 years later, he still didn't think much of the so-called locker room
Oh, so
lead.
this was before... Okay, this is way before.
Taker, meanwhile, resented Pillman for securing himself a lucrative guaranteed contract, something that had not been offered to him up to that point. Though the dead man was the man backstage and ruled by intimidation, Pillman saw him as a phony biker who wasn't as tough as everyone thought he was, causing tension between the two. Sabu and Test.
Oh, boy.
A free spirit not exactly prone to self-censorship,
R.I.P. Sabu and R.I.P. Test.
Sabu made no secret of his feelings for those he didn't like. In the original ECW, for example, the
Sabu.
suicidal, homicidal, and genocidal one had issues with Chris Benoit, Taz, and even Paul Heyman himself for one reason or another. When Sabu was brought in for WWE's ECW reboot in 2006, he found himself butting heads with Test.
Oh yeah, they try to push Test into ECW like the main character at some point in the ECW relaunch. Yeah, he had a beef with a lot of people. But this,
who was himself
I guess
being brought back in.
This is one we didn't know about, though.
Into the fold after being unceremoniously fired while injured a couple of years prior. According to Sabu, Test came in with a big ego and would gleefully talk about how...
Well, it's because WWE was pushing him to be the main eventer at ECW brand.
How he wouldn't sell for people like him and CM Punk, as they were smaller than he was, and thus he didn't think it was believable. While Sabu would say the two had good matches whenever booked against one another, he knew that Andrew Martin was going out of his way to
not Andrew Martin, not using his legal name, damn.
Not put over his offense. He also alleged that Test would call him out and tell on him for taking pills on the road, noting the hypocrisy since Test was doing exactly the same thing. Ooh. Sabu even once tweeted that he was glad the egomaniac was in hell.
Damn.
Amy. Eric Watts and Lex Luger. Lex Luger will probably be the first person to tell you that he was an arrogant jerk during his professional wrestling career. And after Lex, there's probably a good 100 other people who would be more than happy to tell you the same. One wrestler who really couldn't stand the total package was Eric Watts. The son of former wrestler and booker Cowboy Bill Watts, Eric had to deal with a lot of hostility and downright hazing early on, but he eventually stood up for himself.
So I don't know anything about Eric Watts, but he was best known for appearances in WCW and WWE in the 1990s. He is son of the wrestler Bill Watts, but that's all I know. And he was a quarterback apparently. All right, whatever.
and everyone knew not to mess with him. He wasn't buddies with Luger, they had mutual friends in Sting and Buff Bagwell, and didn't really like being around him because of the way Lex would openly look down on everyone around him. But what really got Eric pissed was when he heard through the grapevine that Luger played a part in getting Pistol Pez Whatley, a former wrestler who was down on his luck and working on the WCW ring crew.
Damn, there's some early WCW stuff.
Fired. Whatley had worked for Eric's father in the past, and when he heard about Lex's alleged involvement in his dismissal, he threatened to fight Luger in the parking.
Damn, look how strong Lex Luger look. Now he's like not.
Lot after a WCW show. They never did come to blows and eventually managed to patch things up when Luger became a born-again Christian years later. CM Punk and the Insane Clown Posse. The list of people who have an issue with CM Punk and vice versa is about a mile long.
Maybe that's definitely a video I should do. CM Punk and his ops. The CM Punk ops. That's going to be a video. Watch.
The straight-edge superstar is notorious for beefing, whether it's with people he barely knows or his best friends for years. So what chance did a couple of clowns really have?
Seriously.
During his early days, paying dues on the indie circuit for promotions like IWA Mid-South, Punk would occasionally take shots at the Juggalo subculture.
Not the Juggalos! Oh no. Don't we know someone that went to see the Juggalos recently? Not CM Punk shooting on them. Damn.
At one point, cutting a promo where he called them the biggest collection of losers on the planet. According to ICP member Violent...
Yeah. I mean, is he stating facts or fiction? I don't know.
Jay, via a random rant on Twitter, Punk didn't hide his hatred for the group when they worked together in TNA back in 2004, claiming that Punk refused to shake their hands. Violent J also took issue with comments Punk had previously made about his former friend Colt Cabana sharing a bank account with his mother. In amongst the expletives, Jay even challenged Punk to a fight. I'd just say you better be careful what you wish for here. You might be violent, Jay, but that's still a former ultimate.
Well, is it a weird connection between Punk and Juggalos? It's from the early days, so of course. I mean, CM Punk went everywhere when he was younger. Now, if he tries to do it, it wouldn't make sense. Yeah.
What fighter you're talking about there?
I don't know.
And Hardcore Holly and Daniel Puder. If you were a rookie in the SmackDown locker room in the mid-2000s, you'd do well to steer clear of Hardcore Holly. Bombastic Bob had a natural hatred of newcomers, coupled with a bad temper. And anyone caught breaching locker room etiquette would find themselves on the receiving end of Sparky Plug's wrath. $1 Million Tough Enough winner Daniel Puder had already upset the locker room by nearly breaking Kurt Angle's arm in their impromptu shoot fight on SmackDown when
he broke his arm?
The MMA fighter got on Holly's bad side.
According
to his autobiography, The Hardcore Truth, Holly was informed by Jimmy Yang that Puder had been bragging to his friends about beating Hardcore in their matches on a house.
Yo, don't fuck with Hardcore Holly, man. Don't mess with Hardcore Holly.
Show loop.
That's a
Holly, furious that Puder would, in his mind, try to pass off their worked matches as legitimate contests, decided to teach the newcomer a lesson by chopping the hell out of him in their next match before verbally chewing him out backstage. Puder's pen.
See, oops. Oh, that was it? Okay. Well, honestly, when it comes to Hardcore Holly, he tends to have he used to beat the crap out of a lot of people. But anyway, it seems like I don't know much because I went through all of those, and for the most part, maybe I knew half of one and didn't even know the last one. So anyway, let me know what you thought. What unknown beef that was in the video that you should have been. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. That was an interesting segment. Now I just want to do a video on all of those and learn more. But